What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back again with a new video. It is finally time we talk about Texas again, and I know the big race is, of course, the governor races in the state of Texas, but I think it's time we talk about other primaries inside of Texas, not necessarily governorship or anything like that, but instead, we have to talk about some of the House races in the great state of Texas, as it's been very, under talked about. I don't know why people really aren't talking about it that much, and I think they should, because there's a lot of, interesting races that the Republicans, vote correctly, could potentially get 5 America First, actual America First candidates in the House. And not necessarily like, a safe Democrat seat where, Democrats win by 50 points. No, it's either, a toss-up seat or it's a safe Republican seat. And these 5 seats, in my opinion, Republicans, they could win all 5 and get real America First conservatives in these seats. Now, before I forget, you may notice the bottom right, there is something happening there. As you can tell, I finally updated my, streaming stuff, my recording stuff, all of that, as now you can see my 2 main platforms I will be on for video productions, Rumble and YouTube. And every 20 seconds or so, you're going to notice it's going to change between Rumble, YouTube, all of that. So, it's reminding you guys, subscribe to both channels. I know, a quick plug-in. So, subscribe to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my Rumble channel. Will be in the description down below. All of the YouTube videos will be synced up to Rumble. And we're going to be having some exclusive content on Rumble, so you guys can see, my real opinions on certain issues that YouTube would not like. So again, this is just high quality improvements to the videos. And one more thing, I will show you the rest of this on Monday, but as you can tell from this transition, we're becoming professional. I mean, this is awesome. I do like the changes to the channel. I hope you do too. But it's time we talk about the actual video, about Texas. I'm sorry for flexing. This is very exciting. I finally got a transition. Woohoo! It's cool. So, yeah. Let's get into it. So we must talk about 5 House races that, in my opinion, are either major Republican primaries, kind of like a, one race of both primaries where the Republicans have a major primary going on, at the same time Democrats have a serious primary, and one race that, if Democrats screw up how they vote, could easily flip towards Republicans. So let's get into it. We must talk about Texas' second, as a real primary challenger, is awaiting Dan Crenshaw. Now, if Dan Crenshaw got like the Trump endorsement or something like that, he probably wouldn't have a chance of primary the guy. But he doesn't. I mean, you look at his primaries or his endorsements in the primary, it's pro-Israel America as one of his endorsements. That's all you need to know about this guy. This guy is cringe, and people have realized this guy's a complete fraud. Now, Republicans do have one serious primary challenger in this R+20 seat, by the way. This is a seat that went from, somewhat of a competitive seat to a safe Republican seat in a Republican trending part of Houston. And that is, of course, Jameson Ellis. I think that's how you say his name. And he is a very solid Republican on the issues. Yes, he has the fight socialism stuff, but that's one thing. Compare the Dan Crenshaw and some of these other Republicans. At this point, it's kind of like, if you don't have fight socialism as a Republican, that's questionable. But it's cringe, I know, but it's just a fact that all Republicans now, even, some of the based ones, still have this fight socialism stuff. But it's one part. I mean, his platform doesn't mention Israel. That's a W. And it is a good platform, protect our God-given rights, drain the swamp, and combat voter, what. So it is a good platform compared to the fraud that is Dan Crenshaw, and I fully support him. If you live in the 2nd District, do vote for this guy. This guy is phenomenal on the issues, and he is a small business owner, so he understands what the lockdowns really did, what the mandates are doing, and how they can, be repealed and actually fix America's economy that's going on the frickin' tubes. So I fully support this guy. Go vote for him. But that is just one race, and you can make the argument that Crenshaw probably isn't going to lose. You could maybe get him into a runoff at best, but it's still possible he gets to a runoff and lose. But I'm not saying he's going to lose, but it's still a good chance that it is a runoff and he could lose in that scenario. But again, if it's not a runoff, he's going to win. But the second race I want to talk about today actually could be, a real flip. That is District 3. And Van Taylor, in my opinion, is in big, big, big trouble. I mean, I've looked at some polling data in the past. He's not necessarily a popular guy. And there appears to be serious primary challengers to this guy. Now, one of them is, of course, Keith Self, Collin County judge. He's kind of cringe, but he could seriously win. But the one candidate I do fully endorse, which American Populist Union also endorsed, was Suzanne Harp. And all I gotta say about her is she has a phenomenal platform. It's not, this cringe like, oh, socialism, socialism, socialism. Instead, it's like, hey, and the January 6th Commission, energy independence, American innovation. This is good stuff, not some cringe like, socialism is taking over America. But instead, like, hey, let's actually fix the border, not just talk about how legal immigration is the greatest thing in American history. Be like, hey, illegal immigration is actually the problem. And amnesty is awful, and this immigration system is completely broken. And this is good stuff, and she is a very good Republican, and I do think Van Taylor is going to lose. I firmly believe it, whether it's Keith Self, not necessarily the best Republican, but still significantly better than Van Taylor. Van Taylor sucks. His voting record is atrocious. I mean, for being in a very Republican seat like he's in, there's no reason you should have this clown have the voting record he does. So hopefully a Republican that's actually good gets in there and primaries him out. I do firmly believe he will get primaried out. Don't know the exact margin, but I just have this feeling that Van Taylor has a serious chance of losing. Now, we have one more Republican primary that's, in an open seat type of race, and that is, of course, District 8. And it's a shit show. It's a complete shit show, but you really have two main candidates. You got Morgan Luttrell, I think that's how you say the guy's name, and Christian Collins. As you can already tell, probably, Christian Collins is significantly better than Morgan Luttrell. I mean, this guy, his platform, he puts, we must put America first, above putting American energy independence first. That's all you need to know about this guy. And look at his endorsements. Adam Kissingass, Dan Crenshaw, Nikki Haley. This is garbage. But then you got Christian Collins, and his endorsements are all over the place. I mean, you got Ted Cruz, Taylor Greene, Wendy Rogers, Mike Lindell, but you also got the House Freedom Fund. And it's a unique Republican, as yes, he used to be a worker, he worked for Ted Cruz. But surprisingly, he's actually good. I mean, he's running on, as a Christian conservative and fighting the culture war. That's his platform. Mostly a culture war like, we got to take back our conservative Christian values. He talks about the family a lot. So this is actually a good endorsement by Ted Cruz. And hopefully he wins. I think he will. I do think Ted Cruz has way more of a weight than frickin' Nikki Haley and Dan Crenshaw. Not necessarily popular. So I firmly believe Republicans will get a very good Republican out of this seat. And the Democrats, they don't have a real Democrat running. So this is a safe Republican seat either way. And yes. But that's the three Republican primaries that are open seats or, in safe Republican seats that if the primary challenger wins, he's going to win this seat no matter what. But now there's two seats that we need to talk about that's really for both sides. And Republicans, some things have to go their way for them to win these two seats. Now, the first one is, of course, the open seat that is the new pure toss-up district of the state of Texas, but also Republican trending. District 15. Now, I'm not saying District 15, will be safe Republican or anything like that, but I do firmly believe that the seat is trending significantly Republican, and the Democrats have some very, how do I say this? Very weak candidates. I mean, the main one is Michelle Vello, and she's cringe. She's off on the issues. I mean, yeah, it's a Democrat, but still, she's cringe and just like, she's not gonna win probably. And even if any of these other guys win the primary, they're still gonna lose. I mean, one of the major candidates is Elza Elvado. Again, we're in Southern Texas, so these names are get a bit corny. And it's a former employee of the United States Department of Labor. That's all you need to know. The rest of these candidates, they suck. There's no real, serious candidate in this race for the Democrats. But the Republicans, there actually is, significant, name power in this race. But the main candidate who I firmly and officially endorse is Monica de la Cruz. Now, Trump endorsed her. And that may, signal some red flags that, oh shit, this may not end good. Because Trump's endorsements, while they're significantly better now, they're still hit or miss at times. But I could firmly say she is a phenomenal candidate. A real conservative, a real America First candidate. I mean, she supports E-Verify in Southern Texas. So that tells you really how Southern Texas people really think. Like, hey, this immigration stuff's killing us. We can actually, have real immigration policies that's not flooding these people into our cities. And she has a very good platform, energy independence. I mean, these are huge issues in Southern Texas. Constitutional values, healthcare. This is good stuff, military homeland security. And she may be, a bit, iffy on this part. But again, that may be, just more like, be like, hey, you're not going to just screw us over in trade deals. But still, she's a phenomenal Republican. She doesn't mention socialism once, I don't think. So this appears to be the best Republican Trump has endorsed that nobody's talking about. Very good on the issues, and I firmly endorse her. And I think she's going to win, by the way. There's really, no real Democrats in the race. These guys are just jokes. But there is, however, one race that will be the defining race of 2022 for the Democrats. This is a race that, if Democrats vote incorrectly, Republicans will win by upwards of 15 points. That may sound like a joke, considering what district this is. But if Democrats, pick the wrong candidate, you may be screwed. I'm, of course, talking about Texas 28th. And I know immediately people will be like, what the hell are you talking about? There's no way Democrats, lose a seat by 15 points. And even if they do lose, it'd be maybe by a point. So what are you talking about? Well, here's what I'm talking about. Democrats, all the progressives, all the cringe Democrats, all this garbage, they're all uniting behind Jessica Cisneros. I think that's how you say her name. And she's endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Wendy Davis, all the cringe parts of the Democrats. And here's the thing, though. She is a progressive. And not like 2016 style Bernie progressive that's not woke and cringe, but cringe, woke, more like a neoliberal in some instances. And she's going against Henry Kohler, one of the more, conservative Democrats in the House. Now, he's not conservative, by the way, but still, compared to most Democrats, he is way more conservative, especially on the border. I mean, on immigration, he has a better voting record than many Republicans. So, that's all you need to know about how bad the Republicans have gotten on immigration. But Henry Kohler is in serious trouble. And if he loses this race, which there is a significant chance he does lose this race. I mean, I'm thinking he's going to lose. Well, you just lost a moderate-ish Democrat in a seat that's, only D plus 6 or 7. If it wasn't for Kohler, I firmly believe this district would have been safe Republican 10 years ago. It's just he's a unique Democrat that, he's moderate on some core issues in that district. As for this Bernie bro, she's nuts. She is a complete lunatic, and she may seriously lose by a lot. As Republicans do have one candidate that I firmly believe Republicans need to support badly. Not Casey Garcia. Just no. I'm talking about Willie Vesquez. Why? Is this, I don't know if that's a typo or not, but Willie Vesquez. And nobody knows who this is. But it appears he does have somewhat of a serious following, and on the issues, he is phenomenal. And his biggest strength, in my opinion, is foreign policy. I mean, he wants to stand up to China, you know, how they're manipulating their currency, you know, flooding the market with cheap goods. They take our jobs. They pollute the environment, and now they're threatening, like, us and our allies. I mean, he's pro-life, election integrity, energy independence. He is a phenomenal Republican. Now, if he doesn't win, I think Casey Garcia, you know, would still win. Yeah, Garcia's cringe on some issues, but still, I mean, still solid on, you know, some of the core issues. But I just would prefer Willie, as it appears that a phenomenal candidate in the district of 28th. Now, again, if Henry Kohler wins, I think he wins, you know, the general election by like 2 points. If he's primaried out, Jessica probably loses by like 10 points. I mean, the fact that this district, you know, went to Henry Kohler by 5, 6, 7 points, and you're replacing him with a progressive, yeah, no, you're not gonna win. So I firmly believe that Democrats may screw this up and give Republicans an extra seat. So these are the 5 races that we needed to talk about. I recommend everybody looks at them all night. They're really going to show us how America's really thinking about the neocons, the rhinos, and all that stuff. It will also give us a good indicator how much incumbency really matters, as if like 3 incumbents get primaried out. Well, that shows you that the incumbency advantage that used to always exist, well, looks like it's gone. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.